Hi, my name's Cheri. Welcome to my Stampin' Up studio. Today I'm going to show you, it's a project that I did with my demonstrator team. So we have Zoom meetings because, we're all over the United States and COVID. So between the two, it works out really well for us to get together via Zoom. So I sent them the supplies to make a couple of projects when we met together this past week. And so this is one of them. And then it's also going to be a project that we will do at my camp this coming Friday. And at camp, they'll be a little bit lucky because I overcut some of the supplies because, I wasn't counting. And so they very rarely get the supplies pre-cut at camp, but they'll get them for this one. And I also wanted to show it to you because it's kind of the way that if you do some of my online classes, that you often get your supplies for those. So it just kind of works out well. And it also, the reason we did this particular project was for the Zoom meeting, we were talking about designer series paper because it's on sale this month. So a lot of the patterns are, not all of them, but a lot of them are. So we were talking about designer series paper. And this month, if you purchase 4 packs from me and use my host code, then next week you'll be getting the online class. Actually, I'm going to film it, I hope, tomorrow. So probably edit it over the weekend. So you'll be getting it soon. But we're going to do 3 projects. One is the wreath that you've seen. One is this one. And then one is a ruler, which we also did that on the Zoom thing the other night. So it's here. So you'll get the instructions on how to do those 3 projects. And then you'll be able to make this one too. So you don't get the supplies or anything, but you'll be able to make it. So today's project is a Slimline card. Those are super on trend right now. Super, super popular. Everywhere you look, everybody's making a Slimline card. And I hadn't made any because I know they go in the legal size envelopes. And I just, our envelopes that you can buy are super nice. And they kind of match the quality of the card. And I'm not about putting mine in an envelope, especially like if you're making a wedding card or something, and then you give them the card in something that looks like it's a bill. And maybe millennials don't know that it looks like a bill because we get so many of our bills online, but for me, I'm like, eh. So when the designer series paper went on sale, I was like, I'm just going to come up with my own envelope pattern. But it does take a piece of 12 by 12 paper, but it's on sale right now. So buy your favorite pack, or, just pull out some of your older paper that you've hoarded, because I know y'all, and I know you have some hoarded paper, and just pull out some of that and just make some envelopes. And it'll be a great way to then not feel guilty that you have all that paper sitting around. So this card won't take very long to put together because, like I said, I've already pre-cut. So when I sent them their cards, they were already scored, because to make my Slimline, I know they come in all different sizes, but this was mine, and it is 7.5 by 8. And then I scored it for them on the 7.5 side. So I didn't want anybody to score it wrong on the 8, because then it wasn't going to fit in the envelope that we were going to make. So cut your cardstock, and this is just a piece of vanilla, 7.5 by 8. It gives you great large pieces left from your 8.5 by 11 cardstock to use to have scraps. So it's 7.5 by 8, score the 7.5, and I just put it in my paper score, and then you have that. Then I took my In Good Taste pieces. I have more of these because it's cut for camp, but any of the ones that look like wood, or any of the brown ones. And I just cut this. Oh, well, now I don't remember what size I cut it. I didn't write that one down. I had it written down. It is 3, because this then ends up being 3.5, because it's 7.5. Is that right? No, it's 3 and me and math. It's 3 3/4. So this is 3 3/4. So I think this is 3.5. Yep. So this is 3.5 by 7 3/4. So it just gives you a nice little frame. So then I took these. This would be a great card to make even for Christmas if you pulled Christmas papers out, and because you're making envelopes, then they'll fit. So these are the Ornate Garden layers. I'll put the link down. They're not the ornate frames because those are tiny. This came out in the spring, but it's in the catalog. So I took a bunch of my very favorite paper from the catalog. So all this, that's the Forever Greenery, and I just ran through full ones. And then for them, I just took all the little pieces, and this is where I had way too much. So for camp, they're not gonna have to do it. And this is like when you do a class with me, if it's not the die that you're getting, then I don't know if you have it. So I run those through for you. Like if you do the Try It class that's coming up, the dies will already be cut for you. So you can see there's whole ones. That's not the same piece of paper. But I just ran whole ones of these through. And here's the little one. Like this. So I just ran a bunch of them through, and you can do 2 at a time, 2 pieces at a time. So there's that. And then I just put these in my paper trimmer and I cut them in half because it's a Slimline card and I wanted to get lots of paper on there, but like this one doesn't fit on a Slimline. So then I just went through and I picked out 2 different designs for everybody, and they just got 2. So they got a thick one and a thin one. And I just made sure that they were 2 different patterns. So let's see, make sure this is 2 different patterns. Yep. And I wasn't terribly careful because I wanted everybody's card to look a little bit different. So they got that. And then at camp, they won't have to do it. They're going to be so excited. And then the other thing I did, which is also what I would do if you were doing an online class, and it's not, if it's a class and the dies are included, then I don't run them through for you because you're getting the dies. These are the Forever Greenery dies. So this is copper. So just pop this out. I don't do the popping out for you, and I didn't do it for them the other night. But this I just ran through on some copper foil. So we have that. And then this is just some olive cardstock with the bigger one. And I ran that through for them. So if you have the dies, you can just run these through, and then it gives you 2 of those, or you can put some on the inside. And then this is the ribbon from the jar of flowers. Flowers for every season. So just put this on here and then just decide how you want to arrange it. And everybody on the Zoom did something different. And all you want is to make sure your flat edges go flat edges. So you can decide if you want those. And the nice thing is you can flip it over and decide if you want those. So you can kind of just play with the patterns. I kind of like that one. But you know, when you're running it through fast, sometimes you get it a little bit crooked. But I'm going to go with the crooked anyways. And I like to mix my neutrals. So I realize it's vanilla and white, but I like that. And I'm going to go with these designs partly because it's totally different than my original card. My original card, I did use this because with this particular pack of designer series paper, this piece, both sides, those are my favorite. And I hate when Stampin' Up! Does that to me because I'm like, why'd you put both my favorite designs on the one piece of paper? So just add those on. And being careful not to put my adhesive right to the edge because I might want to be able to slide those under. So now you're just going to take this and then you can just put these however you want. So let's stick this one here and let's use just some glue dots because it doesn't take very much to hold these on here. So when you do an online class, I normally tell you like the basics that you're going to need. You're always going to need some adhesive. So whichever adhesive you like. But it's always nice to have most of the adhesives because on this one you can see we've already used 2. And then let's take this one up here. And you can see because I didn't put my adhesive all the way to the end. And we know that this card is going to have a little bit of leeway on the edge because it's got a border. And if you just put 2 little glue dots, it's going to hold those on nicely. So that's plenty to keep those on there. And then let's tie some ribbon around here and you can kind of put it wherever you decide. And if you want to add a saying, you could put your sentiment on here or you could put it on the inside. So I think I'll go right here. And this is a combo ribbon pack, so if you have it, you could add the other ribbons because it comes with the blue and white striped and then one of the cords. No, the green and white, the green like gingham, which would be really pretty with this card as well. But I was just kind of going for a neutral. You know, we're smack in the middle of the making lots of fall and Halloween and Christmas. So when I originally was going to make this, I thought I would do a Christmas or a fall one. And then I thought, no, I'm just going to go back to the annual catalog and just do a basic, regular, all-season card. Because we get kind of, especially in the U.S., I know the rest of you don't have quite as many holidays thrown in here as if you're watching from the South Pacific especially. So just tie this. This ribbon is kind of a linen and it lays really nicely. You can see you don't even have to mess with it. Just tie a bow like you're tying your shoes. And now we can just mount this on here. Just ran out of adhesive. So now I will have to use the Seal Plus. It doesn't need Seal Plus, but my envelope will, so they were both laying here. And you can see that it's just a really pretty, it gives you a little bit bigger of a space to work with when you're doing a slimline. And you can always do a slimline and put it on like a gift bag or your packaging. And then these are the holiday rhinestones, and I sent them all 3. And I sent them the green and the pool party and the dark blue, which aren't exactly the colors in the paper, but it looks really pretty. And just kind of random put them on there. We're probably gonna, I'm not sure that I have another package of those, so for camp we might have to come up with something different. So here's this one. And then here's the my other design, which is a little bit bigger. This was when I went with an 8x8 card, and it took too much paper, and I didn't like the envelope. This one I think also looks a little bit more slim. This one looks like a standard 8x8, so, but it's the same paper. Because I was really going for designing the envelope. I do like this paper back here, but the carpet paper looks pretty too. So now let's do our envelope. And I just laid all the other stuff on top of here. So you want to go with one of your more neutral patterns, or here's the other thing you can do, which is super fun. If you pick a really busy pattern, so say you pick this because it would make a fabulous envelope. I mean, this would be super pretty. Wouldn't that be a really pretty envelope? And then you're like, well, how the heck am I going to write the address on it? This is how you do it. You take this and you run it through a piece of white cardstock, and then you just write the address on here, and then you glue that to the front, and then your envelope's even prettier. So that's how you can do it if you have a busy piece of designer series paper. Because I know you all afforded, because I've met you. So you're going to take this, and you need it to be 11 by 10. So let's do the 10 first. Okay, so we have the desk. So let's do 11. Trim that off. And we'll do 10. Okay, so now when you have it with the 10 here, you want to score. So I'm going to try to remember now that I'm talking not to score on the wrong side. So you want to score at 3 inches. So put this in here and score at 3. Score 3. And then score at 7. I guess I was going to have to open my arm anyways. I wasn't thinking. So you've scored at 3 and 7. And then flip this around and score it 1.5 on both sides. You could do the math and figure out what it is so you can slide it over. I just like to do 1.5 because I like little numbers. And because often I don't have to open the arm on my thing. So 1.5. And 1.5. So you can kind of see it, probably not. You just want to take your card then and make sure that it fits inside this nice little rectangle that you have created right here. And it does. I said 1.5, I meant 1.25. So I don't know if you can see, but again, it's 1.25 and then 3 and 7. So that's why you don't have, if you use an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, it doesn't give you enough of a flap. So if you want to use an 8.5 piece of paper, 8.5 by 11, then you have to extend your flap. So let's put this in here and just fold all these up. And then back, it's actually going to be, this is going to be the inside. And you can get a little heavy-handed on your scoring because it's designer series paper and it feels super thick, but if you press too hard, ask me how I know, because I have done it in the past. So it's going to be like this. But then you want to take and notch these edges out. So this one gets, you just barely notch it, and it doesn't have to be perfect because they're going to get glued under there. So just a little notch. Just like that. And then just, you can put them back in the cutter if you want it to be super straight, but again, it's going to get all glued in there. So do this. And just literally notch them out, which you could cut better if you were not doing it on camera. And then notch these. And then you're gonna, if you want, you can also notch the flap up here, but I do that afterwards. And you also don't have to because it's handmade and it kind of gives it a rustic look, especially for this particular card. I knew I'd only cut 3. You can save these little pieces if you want. There's almost enough that you could use those for another project. So this is going to be your flap. This is going to be your end. So just put a little bit of adhesive right here on these. You can see that's going to fold up. The Stampin' Seal does work better. It just holds it a little bit better. But the Seal, the Seal Plus, the seal will hold it. So we've got that. And then you can see where you, if you want to notch it, you can. I think on this card, it looks pretty. It doesn't then look anything like a legal envelope. This one over here didn't cut very well because, I'm cutting on camera. But you can just trim it. It's really easy to trim on this one because it's brown on the other side. So there you go. And the other thing, sometimes with the legal size envelopes, if you put them in there, there's not a lot of give for as much, our bows and stuff, because it does make it take up more room. So super simple. There you go. Handmade envelope. And again, if you use something where it's super fancy and you can't read it, mine's opposite, but just take one of the labels and cut it out of like this paper if it was reversed and write your address on there or your name. So you have the flip. So if this was your envelope, you could write it on just a piece of cardstock or more muted piece of designer series paper. So I hope you like that. Envelope super simple. card is, the card was way super simple because I had done half the work for you. But if you are interested in getting the Designer Series paper class, it's free this month. You just have to purchase 4 packs of paper, or everybody who has spent $150 or more. And it doesn't have to be in one order. They can accumulate during the month. Then you'll get that Designer Series paper class from me for free. And if you would like to do all of my classes, most all of them, it's not every single class, but you get the videos of all of my classes mostly free as if you're part of my team. And then you also get to do all of our Zoom things for free. Or if you're in the Indy area, then you can come to, we do a live event about once, well, it used to be once a quarter, and then COVID. So it's been a minute. We did do one. We definitely do one every time a new catalog comes out. And we're getting together in just a couple weeks for On Stage at home. It won't be in our home, but we'll be together. So everybody have a great day. You can go to my website and get on my email list. It pops up there for you to join it. And that's the best way to keep up with everything that's going on in my stamp studio. Bye.